The galaxy was a vast, silent place filled with countless planets, stars, and races. Some were peaceful, some were aggressive, but most simply kept to themselves, focused on their survival. The alien races had long considered themselves the masters of the universe. They had traveled across the stars, colonizing distant worlds, establishing vast empires. They viewed humanity, still in its early stages of space exploration, as nothing more than a curious species, not yet worthy of serious consideration. That was until they saw the human fleet. It all started on the edge of the Andromeda Galaxy, where the Collective, a powerful alien coalition of several species, had been observing the progress of Earth. Their scouts had noticed something unusual. The humans were rapidly advancing in technology, faster than they expected in fact, and more troublingly, they had managed to unlock the secret of faster-than-light travel. The Collective had dismissed Earth's rise, chalking it up to a fluke or a temporary burst of innovation. But when the first human starships arrived in their quadrant, the Collective realized they had underestimated the humans. They'd watched, intrigued yet wary, as a small fleet of human ships entered the Collective's space. The human fleet was not large. In fact, it was only a dozen ships, nothing compared to the size of the Collective's armada. But as the Collective's scouts analyzed the fleet's appearance, they noted a disturbing detail. The ships, though small, were equipped with advanced weapon systems that the Collective had never seen before. The hulls of the ships shimmered with energy shields, and their weapons had an intimidating, unfamiliar design. This was no ordinary fleet of explorers. The humans had come prepared. A message was sent to the Collective's central command. Humans have entered our space. They seem to be well armed. The Collective's leaders scoffed at the idea of the humans being a serious threat. After all, they were only humans, primitive, emotional beings with fragile bodies and simple minds. The Collective had faced far more dangerous foes in their history. They had no reason to fear a species that had barely left its homeworld a few centuries ago. The Collective's leaders ordered the fleet to intercept and engage the human ships. As the alien fleet approached, they saw the human ships in full view for the first time. The human ships appeared small against the backdrop of the Collective's massive warships, but there was something about the way the ships moved, something different. The human fleet moved with an unusual precision, almost as if they were guided by some higher power. Their ships darted and weaved through space with remarkable agility, dodging the Collective's initial attempts at firing on them. A Collective warlord, an imposing alien known as Zilthor, watched the spectacle from his command ship. He had fought in countless battles across the galaxy, facing enemies of all kinds. But this was unlike anything he had ever seen. "They're adapting," Zilthor muttered to himself, staring at the human fleet. "How are they doing this?" The humans were responding in ways the Collective had never anticipated. They used unorthodox tactics, disrupting the Collective's communications, jamming their weapon systems, and even deploying drones that seemed to explode on contact, creating massive shockwaves. Zilthor's ships began to lose control of their weapon systems, their targeting systems malfunctioning under the pressure. And then, the unexpected happened. One of the human ships fired a series of powerful beams at the Collective's flagship, and Zilthor's warship shuddered under the impact. The shields flickered, but they held. But it wasn't the attack that worried Zilthor, it was the reaction of his crew. The Collective's officers had never seen anything like this. The crew members were sweating, their hearts racing. Some even collapsed, clutching their chests in pain. Zilthor felt his own pulse quicken as a wave of panic swept through his fleet. This wasn't just an attack, it was something worse. A second strike came from another human ship, and a wave of energy surged through the Collective's fleet. The alien officers gripped their chests, their faces turning pale. The sensors on Zilthor's ship blinked in alarm. The entire fleet was beginning to experience the same symptoms: sudden exhaustion, rapid heart rates, and in some cases, complete collapse. "What is this?" Zilthor asked, his voice strained. One of his lieutenants, struggling to stay conscious, looked up and whispered in horror, "The humans. They've somehow triggered an emotional response, a powerful one. It's too much. We can't handle it." Zilthor froze. The idea of the humans causing such a reaction was incomprehensible. Their weapons weren't just physical, they had somehow reached into the collective minds of the collective's warriors. The fear and stress they were feeling were overwhelming, paralyzing them. It didn't take long for the truth to hit Zilthar like a bolt of lightning. The human fleet wasn't just equipped with advanced technology, they had something far more dangerous. Their weapons targeted not just the body but the mind, and the collective's members were not prepared for it. One by one, the alien ships began to fall apart. The force of their own internal collapse, fueled by the fear of the humans' unexpected attack, was too much to bear. Many of the soldiers and officers were taken down by heart attacks. The fleet that had once been the most formidable in the galaxy was now crumbling under its own fear and confusion. Zilthar's heart pounded in his chest as he watched his fleet disintegrate. How can this be happening? He thought, panic creeping into his mind. The human ships, now showing no signs of slowing down, pressed forward with relentless determination. Zilthar could only stare in horror as the humans approached, their fleet growing ever closer to his flagship. And then, just as the final blow was about to land, Zilthar made a decision. With the few remaining ships, he issued a retreat order, commanding the surviving members of the collective to withdraw from the battlefield. It was the only way to survive. The human fleet paused, but the message was clear. The battle was over. The collective had been beaten, not by superior firepower or advanced tactics, but by the sheer will of humanity, the strength of its determination, and the raw power of its emotional resilience. As Zilthar and his fleet limped away, he couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. The humans had proven one thing in that battle. They were far more than just a species struggling for survival. They were a force of nature, and the collective had no idea what they were up against. But one thing was certain, no one would underestimate humanity again.